is right here. Oklahoma's right above Texas, just so you get an idea of where it is in the United States, so you can have a little mental picture of what we're talking about. Okay, so it also takes place in 1960 something. It doesn't say specifically, but it's somewhere around there. And we have two main groups of people in this book that we're going to be talking about: the greasers and the socialists. The greasers are located in the east side, and the socialists are located in the west side. Now we're going to do a little compare and contrast in a second, but I just wanted to go ahead and front load some information to you guys so you start getting an idea of what's going to be happening in this book. So we got location, time, and the main people it's going to be affecting, okay? So the next thing I want to do is go over the character map. Now this character map looks so weird because I printed it in my home printer and the color printer is running out of ink, so it looks really weird. And I tried printing in black and white, but apparently my black ink is all gone. So let's work with what we have, people. If you want another picture to look at, I posted one on Google Classroom, so you guys can reference that one if it looks better. But I'm going to go ahead and start talking about some of the characters we are going to be learning about in this book. Now our main character is going to be right here, Ponyboy. You guys already got an introduction to Ponyboy, and we're going to be going over the storyline in just a second, but I wanted to take a minute to talk about the main characters that are being talked about in the first chapter. So we have Ponyboy, and then we have his brother Derry, which is the oldest brother, and then we have his other brother Soda Pop. And yes, his name is Soda Pop. That's not his nickname, that's his real name. So I know it's kind of weird and funny, but that's his name. And Ponyboy, him too, that's not his nickname, that's his real name as well. I know they have very unique names in this book. Okay, so those are the three brothers. We're also going to be hearing about Johnny, who is a friend. We're going to also hear a lot about Dally and his background, but I'll get back to talking about them after we do the review of the chapter, okay? Because then it'll make a little bit more sense if you guys kind of forgot what the first chapter was about. Now, the second thing I'm going to show you guys is a compare and contrast. So I know I told you guys that we're going to be talking about two main groups of people, the greasers and the socialists. Now, the main difference between greasers and socialists is that the greasers come from the east side, which is the poor people, the people that don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of resources, and are overall the rougher neighborhood, okay? And then we have the socials. So in some audios, when you guys hear the audiobook, they either call them socials or they call them socks. So you might hear either one. Different people decide to say different things, socks, socials. I prefer socials because I kind of feel socks is, I don't know, I just think of my socks on my feet, and I don't know, I like socials. And the socialists are the west side, the people who are rich, have a lot of wealth, they have a lot of advantages in life because they have a lot of money. So let's go back to the greasers. So the greasers, hence greasers, they have greasy hair. So it's a particular style of doing their hair where they put grease and put it back. It was really popular during this time period. Oh, I messed up my hair. It's okay. And you guys can look up pictures of greaser hairstyles online now that you have a lot of time on your hands. I'm sure you're on the computer a lot. So go ahead and look up those hairstyles so you have a better idea. They were also very famous for wearing leather jackets. Like I said, they're poor and they come from the east side. You guys could probably think of a lot of other stuff that you read about and realize that the greasers have going on for them. But I just wanted to make it nice and quick. So the next thing is the Socius. They are rich. They have a lot of expensive things. Now, they wore these famous shirts that are called Madaras. Kind of spelled it wrong, so I just blacked it out. Madaras. They're kind of those shirts, collared shirts that have the little squares on them, like the plaid colored shirts. Back then, those were very expensive. Now you could probably find one like for $15, $20. And now they're super common, easy to find. But back then, they were made out of really thick material. They would last you forever, and they were very expensive. So only the rich people really had them, the people that were well off. And then they would drive expensive cars like the Corvair. So you can look up pictures of these two. Usually we have like little PowerPoints where you guys can see the fancy car, and they look really cool. But yeah, so that's a little bit about the greasers and Socius. Main thing to remember is that the greasers are poor and the Socius are rich. Okay. So now let's get into a review of the chapter. So some interesting stuff happens because, as we find out, the greasers and the Socius have a rivalry. So it's the greasers versus the Socius. It's kind of like two rival gangs going against each other, and I think that's one of the reasons The Outsiders has become so popular amongst young people. It's very relatable. You can really feel the tensions between these two groups of people and how the individual characters handle all of these situations. It's just like the way you and I would probably handle a lot of these situations, and there's just a lot of emotions involved in the injustices within this book. Okay, so I have a lot of notes here. So I'm gonna be taking pictures of the notes so you guys have like a little synopsis of what happened in the first chapter. So as we know, Pony Boy went to the movies, and he went to the movies alone, even though Derry, his big brother, has told them that he's not supposed to be going anywhere alone because it's dangerous. Something could happen to him. People could go ahead and jump him, like the Socius could go ahead and jump him. But he doesn't listen. He didn't want to really bother anyone, so he decided to go to the movies alone. And as he's walking home, something happens.
I can come up in your movie. I did come up.
Okay, so you heard my daughter in the background. She wants to say hi to you, so go ahead, Jasmine, say hi really quick, and then I'll get back to this.
Hi!
Okay, that was her saying hi. So going back to this, Pony Boy, like I told you, has two brothers. Derry, who is the oldest brother, and then Soda Pop, who's the middle brother. Now, as he's walking home from the movies, he runs into some of the Socius. And exactly what his brother warned him against, he got jumped. Not good stuff. Now, his friend, Johnny, was also jumped in the past. So as he's walking home, he's kind of remembering how Johnny told him that he got jumped, and then Soda, and then Pony Boy gets jumped as well. So he gets pretty scared about that. Then I have a little note page for the rest of it. We also learn that Derry is really smart. Derry, once again, is his big brother. He's really smart, but he